Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the fifth grade concept of simplifying expressions and order of operations. This is 5.4F, Readiness Practice, the intermediate version. If you are interested in exploring the proficient or advanced versions of 5.4F or the Readiness Practice resource aligned with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So we have an expression we need to simplify, and we need to use the order of operations. So some of us will remember this as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS. What I like to do is I like to make sure that I put my M and my D, my multiplication and division, on the same level, my addition, subtraction, my A and my S on the same level, because you could do either one of those when they come in order from left to right. But we always start with our parentheses, our exponents, which we really don't mess around with much in fifth grade. Then we multiply or divide, or we take care of our adding and subtracting last. So we have a parentheses here, which means we need to, and I'm going to rewrite this so we can make it a little bit larger. And what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and use a different color so we can see the order in which we're doing this. We're going to do a 3x times 4, right? That's going to come first because we always do what's inside the parentheses. Now we simply have a multiplication inside the parentheses, but sometimes within the parentheses, what we're going to get is several operations. Within a parentheses, you will find the order of operations. So if you do a multiplication and an addition, inside a parentheses, you have to multiply before you add, for example. So I'm going to take my 3 times 4, and I'm going to make that 12. And so what we have here is we have a parentheses 12. We have a 3 on the outside of it, and we have a plus 6. So really what I have is I have a multiplication. 3 parentheses 12 means multiply. And then we have a plus 6. So two different operations left, multiplication and addition. We don't necessarily go left to right. We look at our order of operations. And in this case, we are going to multiply first. But if we multiplied second, then we would do that before we add it, because you always multiply before you add. So our 3 times 12 is going to be, and let's just put a little squiggle right here. We're going to do that next. We only want to do one at a time, so that's going to end up being 36. And then we add that 36 to the 6, and that's the last thing we have left. So we bring it all the way down, and that is going to be 36 plus 6 makes 42. And so that is our answer, 42, and that's how we would simplify that expression using the order of operations. We're going to do the same thing here, so let's go ahead and write this again. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add or subtract. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now we've got a little bit of a larger one here, and so let's do our rewriting, and we are going to multiply first again, but it's within a word problem. So Yasmin has 3 bags of apples, each with 15 apples. That's where the 3 times 15 is going to come from. 3 times 15 is because I got 3 bags of apples, each with 15. I'm going to buy 5 more, so that's plus 5. And then I'm going to give 2 away to a friend, and I give 7 away to her mother. That's where we get the minus 2 and the minus 7. Now we can end up going left to right here because multiplication comes first. Add or subtract, they're on the same level, so you do whichever one comes first, left to right. So let's just do this one at a time. All right, so I've got my 3 times 15, right? That's going to be 45. Now at this point, I'm just going to copy everything else down because you only want to do one operation at a time. So now we've got our 45 plus 5, and that's going to be 50. And I'm just going to copy this down, minus 2, minus 7. So now I've got 2 different subtractions. Once again, you could just go left to right with what's remaining because adding and subtracting, they're all on the same level. So I'm just going to subtract these 2, right? And that's going to get me 48. And then that's going to leave me with 48 minus 7. And that's going to get me a final version of 41. So that is my final answer. And so we can say, how many apples does Yasmin have now? We can go ahead and put this in a sentence. Yasmin now has 41 apples. She bought some. She definitely gave a series of apples away. Now we notice in our third one, we have to create our own order of operations expression. So let's still write down, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, putting the multiplication and division in the same row, addition and subtraction in the same row. So a group of friends went to an arcade. They bought 3 game tokens for $2 each. Okay, so how can we show 3 game tokens? I'm going to first draw it just so we can see. $2 each, $2 each, $2 each. And then they also spent $10. So that's a really big one like this. Okay. Write and simplify numerical expression. Well, if we see it like this, it's actually pretty easy to figure out how much money they spent, right? Because if we look at this, we say, well, that's 6, and that's 10. So if we put all that together, it looks like we're going to get 16, right? But how do we write that as an expression? Well, we have 3 sets of 2, so that means 3 equal groups of 2. And then we also have that 10. Now, we don't necessarily need to do any parentheses. We can if we want to, but we're going to always multiply first. And so if you included parentheses, that's fine, but that's not really necessary because the order of operations already tells you that you have to multiply before you add. And so let's do this. This is going to give us 6 and then plus 10. And so you put those two together and you get your 16. And so they spent, I'm going to put this right here, $16. Now that's my total, but we also needed to write a numerical expression, so I'm going to just kind of box this right here so it's easy to see. 3 times 2 plus 10. If you are interested in exploring the 5.4F Readiness Practice resource aligned with the Proficient or the Advanced version, or the Readiness Practice resource aligned with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description.